Blessings and welcome to the Path to Freedom. My name is Daniel Roqueo, and as always, I'm deeply grateful and honored that you're choosing to join me, that you're choosing to tune in to this space, that you're choosing to spend some time allowing your consciousness to expand, allowing your vibration to be raised, so that we may all be beneficial presences here on this planet as we're walking this planet, as we're walking along the path to freedom, the path of awakening. Today we are addressing an aspect of the spiritual aspect, not at all, the human aspect of this beautiful path. You perhaps remember me speaking about the two wings of spirituality. There's the spiritual wing, there's the human wing, and we need to tend to them both equally. We need to balance them both in the same way so that we may soar and shine our lights in such a beautiful way that we're being called to do. Today, we're addressing the human aspect. And so the topic for today is embrace and allow to release and let go. Embrace and allow to release and let go. And this has to do with how healing happens, right? So there from one perspective, there are three dimensions of healing. Healing, obviously, for me, the way I define it, is when we release and let go something that is obscuring, that is blocking, that is hindering the truth and the essence of who and what we are, the light that we all are, from being revealed. So, in other words, healing happens when we become aware of thought forms or something small and limited. We release and let it go so that something new, greater, grander may emerge, revealing the work that we do to reveal that which is underneath the surface of who we are, that which is underneath the current expression of who and what we are. And so the topic is embrace and allow to release and let go. And this has to do with when things come up, when thought forms rise to the surface, when judgments come to the surface, when small and limited beliefs come to the surface, which they will, if we have an intention, if we have a vision, if we're moving towards something, we can bet our butts on that whatever needs to be released and let go of will come to the surface. Whatever healing needs to happen for us to be the conduit, to be the instrument for that new and greater and grander to emerge, to come through, to come into our experience, it will come up. And I became aware of this. I had another run-in with this morning, actually, as I'm still moving through a beautiful shift, a beautiful expansion is happening in my life, where I've began to say yes to something new, which means that the old is now being released, it's now being dissolved. However, this morning I became aware of thought forms pertaining to the old. It was like an echo, an echo from the past. Thoughts that I used to habitually think that were in alignment with what used to be, but that are not in alignment with that which is emerging, that which is being birthed right now. And so I became aware of this, and my practice, as I've been taught and as I realized, is obviously not to deny it, to resist it, to try to push it away. And these thought forms, they give rise to some not too comfortable emotions. So there was some not anxiety, but some fear, some worry, some doubt coming up. And embracing and allowing simply means just that. We embrace, we surround, we love these experiences. We provide a space for them to be a loving space, not in resistance, not trying to push them away, not saying that they are wrong, that they shouldn't be, but embracing them, holding them in love, and then obviously allowing them to be, giving them permission to be what they are. Which is not to say that they need to be. It is not to say that I always have to experience these thought forms. But embracing and allowing simply means that I give them the space to be. I recognize, I acknowledge that this is what is right now. I don't need to attach myself to it. I don't need to identify myself with these thought forms or these beliefs or these stories or whatever the case may be. But I can observe them, kind of like how we're observing the clouds in the sky or the trees outside the window. We're not identifying ourselves with them and thinking that that tree and the way it has unfolded, it has anything to do with me. Or that cloud is shaped in kind of an obscene way, or it kind of looks like a monster. Oh, that's got to mean something for me. That has a bearing on me. No, but we simply are invited to observe, to witness the thoughts that flow through our minds, whatever they may be judgments, they may be beliefs, they may be thoughts as to what should and should not be, they may be opinions, they may be whatever, thoughts of lack and scarcity, thoughts of limitation. We get to observe them, embrace them, and allow them. And guess what happens? In that embracing and allowing, and actually in the non-attaching ourselves to it or to them, when we're not attaching ourselves to them, when we're not investing ourselves in them, we can observe them without giving them much energy. And what happens is that they begin to dissolve. That's the releasing and letting go. Embrace and allow to release and let go. When we do not invest in them, when we do not buy into them, but simply observe them, just like clouds in the sky, they just keep on floating. They may stay for a while, they may linger for a while, like these thought forms that I experienced this morning. They lingered for about an hour. And I just did my thing. I observed them, I acknowledged them. I knew that they were not relevant to me where I am now. They were not in alignment with who I am now, with where I'm going, with who I'm becoming. So I gave them the freedom to be. I gave them the space to be. And as they, through my non-attaching myself to them, as they had nothing to grab onto, to hold onto, to latch themselves onto, they couldn't stay. So they drifted away. And this is how healing happens. Not through mental powering through, or trying to convince myself that it is in another way, or trying to suppress these thought forms and opinions and judgments and experiences, laying another layer on top of them. When we bury something down, we can once again bet our butts on that is buried. It's gonna come up again. But when we allow our thoughts and feelings to be, to pass through, they have passed. Now, as the mind is habitual, I know that these thought forms, for me, these thought forms, they're going to come back, they're going to circle back, and I get to embrace and allow them again. I get to release and let them go so that they may dissolve. And for each and every single time, that we are able to stay in the present, when we are able to observe, to witness, to embrace and allow and release and let go, for every single time, the power that these thought forms, beliefs, stories used to have on us, it diminishes, it lessens, to the point where I know that, I don't know, let's say a month from now, these thought forms that pertain to something old, that belong, they're like a remnant. It's like a relic from the past. A relic from the past. That relic is going to wear out its place. That relic is going to stop showing up eventually. Not through my pushing it away, not through my resisting it or denying it. These are called spiritual bypass, when we deny or we don't give ourselves permission to feel and acknowledge and embrace what we're experiencing. Or we're just adding another layer on top of it without doing the work. That's called spiritual bypassing. But embracing and allowing, that's healing in progress. And I know that oftentimes, especially when disturbing emotions and experiences come up, us humans have a tendency to want to do something about them. We want to lean into doing, into correcting, into fixing, into making it right. But true healing, lasting healing, happens when we are trusting enough, when we are still enough, loving enough to let whatever is be what it is, without having to do something about it, without having to fix it, without having to mend it. Kind of like a wound, a physical wound. It needs time to heal. And we need time to heal. And we want to be loving and kind towards ourselves while we are doing it. So when these thought forms, when these relics from the past, or a blast from the past, or echoes from the past, or whatever we want to call it, when we become aware of it, when it comes into our experience once again, we want to be loving and kind towards ourselves. We want to give ourselves permission. First of all, we want to not beat ourselves up for experiencing these thought forms. It is not like we're choosing to think that over again. Yes, we may make the choice to do attach ourselves to it. Yes, we may make the choice to do identify with it. But even in that, we want to be loving and kind towards ourselves, because the only reason we're ever attaching ourselves to anything or identifying ourselves with anything is because we, in that moment, are not aware enough to not attach ourselves, to not identify ourselves. So we want to always be loving and kind towards ourselves. So embracing and allowing, giving it permission, giving it the space to be what it is, while not attaching ourselves to it or identifying ourselves to it, leads to releasing and letting it go. And with practice, the continuous releasing and letting go leads to dissolution of whatever it is that we released and let go of. So that's how healing happens. So I just wanted to share that, and I absolutely love that you tuned in, that you chose to hang out in this space with me. Until the next time, I bless all of our ways. And I bless all of our ways. Much love to all of us. Namaste.